Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today we will talk about a creepy and disturbing topic: serial killers. Have you ever heard about it? They are killers who commit multiple murders with a certain amount of time between each one. In this video I will show you the top 5 of the most famous serial killers in history. Let's start with number 5 in our ranking: Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy was one of the most famous American serial killers. Most of his murders were committed in the 70s. He killed at least 30 women, but the real number is believed to be much higher. Bundy was known to be very charismatic and charming, a real boy next door. He often used his good presence and his charisma to lure his victims, feigning injury and asking for help. Bundy was very cunning and managed to evade law enforcement for a long time. He used to switch identities and moved his murders to different countries in the United States, making it difficult for police to put together a complete picture of his criminal activity. However, in 1975, Bundy was finally arrested for a string of murders in Colorado. Following a series of judicial trials, he was executed in 1989. The story of Ted Bundy has become one of the most notorious serial killer cases in US history. At number 4 we have Ed Gein. Gein was an American farmer living in isolation in Wisconsin. He killed at least 2 women and also did other atrocities like exhuming bodies to create objects with their skin and organs. Ed Gein was a notorious American serial killer and necrophile who terrorized Wisconsin in the 1950s. Gein was responsible for 2 confirmed murders and several other crimes, including digging up bodies in local graveyards. What made this story even creepier is the fact that he used human body parts to create household items such as lamps and rugs, as well as clothes made from human skin. Gein has been described as loner and a bit quirky by his community, but no one would ever suspected he was a serial killer. Gein was arrested in 1957 after police found the remains of a missing woman on his farm. After questioning, Gein confessed to killing the woman and taking other parts of her body from local graveyards. Gein was found not guilty by reason of insanity and committed to a mental institution, where he remained for the rest of his life. His story has inspired numerous horror films, including Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho and The Silence of the Lambs. The story of Ed Gein is one of the most disturbing in the history of serial crimes. The number 3 in our list is John Wayne Gacy. Gacy killed at least 33 boys and men. He was a very popular man in his community and often did clown shows for children. John Wayne Gacy was a notorious American serial killer who committed his crimes between 1972 and 1978. His nickname was Pogo Clown Killer for his work as clown at birthday parties and other events for children. He usually lured his victim to his home under false pretenses and then killed them, burying them in the basement of his house or in the garden. Most of Gacy's victims were teenagers or young men from disadvantaged families. Many of them were also members of the LGBT community. Gacy was arrested in 1978 after police found the remains of several victims buried in the basement of his home. After a lengthy trial, Gacy was sentenced to death and executed by lethal injection in 1994. His story is often used as an example of how a seemingly respectable member of the community can hide a dark and evil personality, and has become a case study in criminal psychology. Second place goes to Jeffrey Dahmer. Dahmer killed at least 17 boys and men, and also did other atrocities like cannibalism and necrophilia. Jeffrey Dahmer, also known as the Cannibal of Milwaukee, was an American serial killer who committed his crimes in the 1980s and 1990s. Dahmer killed and dismembered at least 17 men and boys, mostly Afro-American, at his home in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. After killing his victims, Dahmer decapitated, dismembered, and in some cases even ate their body parts. Dahmer also tried to create zombies by embalming the heads of victims and attempting to bring them back to life with various chemical experiments. In 1991, Dahmer was arrested after one of his victims managed to escape and seek help from the police. Dahmer was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. In 1994, while he was in prison, Dahmer was killed by another prisoner. The Jeffrey Dahmer affair has caused a strong public reaction and has sparked much discussion of the issue of mental health and the death penalty. Finally, in first place in our ranking, we have the infamous Jack the Ripper. Jack the Ripper is the nickname given to the murderer who killed at least 5 women in London East End in the late 19th century. His true identity has never been discovered, but his story has become one of the most famous in the history of serial killers. Jack the Ripper was a mysterious serial killer who terrorized the London borough of Whitechapel between 1888 and 1891. His name comes from the practice of quartering victims. Jack the Ripper is believed to have killed at least 5 women, all prostitutes, but maybe they were more. The women were attacked at night and quartered with a slashing weapon, but the killer has never been identified. The brutality of his crimes, coupled with the lack of hard evidence, meant that Jack the Ripper's identity remained a mystery. However, there have been many theories and hypotheses about the identity of the killer, ranging from the writer Lewis Carroll to the Dr. William Gould, up to Prince Albert Victor. The story of Jack the Ripper has become a case study in criminal history, and has influenced popular culture around the world. This is the top 5 of the most famous serial killers in history. Please, remember that this is a personal list only, and that there are many other serial killers that could have been included. If you like the video, don't forget to leave a like and a subscribe to my channel, so you don't miss the next videos. If you know other serial killers' names, type them in the comments so we can add them in the second part. See you next time. Hello boys!